This is Working for Progress, a podcast that connects us through conversations about how we craft our working lives and make progress. We'll be joined by our communities from Tribe Porty and Keystone. Tribe Porty is a community co-working space and creative hub. We are full of entrepreneurs, social enterprises, freelancers, charities, and SMEs. Keystone is the other social enterprise which supports women to reimagine their working lives. We do this by providing a holistic approach to business through courses, programs, mentoring, group coaching, and events.
Welcome to today's conversation. I'm Alice, the community manager at Tribe Porty.
And I'm Dani, founder and director of both Tribe Porty and Keystone.
Here at Working for Progress, we're all about connecting good people, sharing their stories, their challenges, and the progress they make for themselves and for others. We hope this podcast challenges your ways of thinking and inspires you to work for progress.
Working for Progress starts with simple pleasures, finishes in awe, and meanders through career journeys in between. Today we welcome Jo Craven. Jo is a freelance game designer with many skills and passions. Jo works full-time designing games for training and engagement and also teaches maths for Open University. Welcome. Today we have Jo Craven. Jo is a freelance game designer who started out translating German phone battery descriptions to English. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
And now 4 years later, she's started freelancing full-time designing games for training and engagement. And we'll get into more of what you do. Can't wait. But we'll warm you up with our simple questions around simple pleasures. So please tell us your 5 simple pleasures.
Okay, I think one of them's got to be walks on the beach. The other would be playing music. Like, I love playing music like myself or other people. Food is a big one. And the feeling when you go to bed at the end of a long day and you get to kind of like snuggle in.
Oh yeah.
And how many am I up to? I get one more.
You get one more.
Okay. And then the coffee in the morning. Yeah, definitely.
That comes up a lot.
That does come up a lot.
Coffee in the morning.
And can I ask, are you playing music yourself or are you just putting on music?
Playing music myself, so I play piano and
okay.
guitar sometimes. So yeah, or like sing with people and stuff. Oh, they sing. I don't sing. That's not good for anyone.
I doubt that's not true.
If you ever want to update our jingle.
Yeah.
Just let me know, yeah.
That subtle play music might have been you were actually, playing music yourself.
Yeah.
Great. So we kind of touched on in our intro, well, you let us know about kind of values and skills and passions, and there are many. But do you have some underpinning values that you live by?
I was thinking about this on the way here, actually. So I think probably you could sum it up as in kind of growth and learning things. So like a lot of my jobs have ended up veering towards kind of like education. And then also for myself, like I love learning new things and like I like knowing a little bit about lots of things. I think that's why I've got kind of lots of little jobs, you know. And so I really like teaching beginners as well. So I like letting people have a go and like learning to feel that something could be for them, kind of. So I think that is a big one. And then another one that I try to live by but don't always is kind of slowness and having time for people and not kind of chasing after like a goal too much, but slowing down. But that one doesn't always come through as much.
That's a hard one too when you're a freelancer, isn't it? Because you're kind of always ticking over the next thing, making sure your cash book is balancing, and have you managed to find that nice way of trusting that the work's going to come or getting longer term work?
That's a good word, trust. Yeah, I have. So at the beginning I found it almost impossible to turn something down because you feel like, well, something else might not come along. But with time, things just have come along. So, and especially the pandemic, I lost a lot of work and then it did pick up again afterwards. So I think after that, it's been a lot easier to think, well, if I was okay after the pandemic, then I'm going to be okay kind of no matter what. But I think there is a thing with freelancing is that work gets you work. So if you get one project, you're out there and you're talking to people and then more people are going to ask you. And then if you have a quiet bit, you're not interacting with people as much. And so it gets more quiet. So yeah.
That's a good tip. I think it's the curse of, well, and the blessing if you can master it, like you're talking about, you kind of have trust that it's going to come forward and then putting the work out there so people can see what you're doing, but not panic and say yes to everything. And then you're off on a tangent that you don't want to be off on because you're just saying yes.
Yes. Yeah, and I think sometimes you can make work smaller. You know, you can say, okay, I do have time to do something, but maybe we can do something small and we can do something bigger later, you know.
good point. We haven't spoken about the pandemic at all so
No,
far.
avoided
But
that.
that's certainly one thing that I learned from it, was just trusting, well, gosh, if we can get through that, if we can get through having to close the doors entirely, then I think I can handle whatever.
Yes.
So it's a nice takeaway from a difficult situation. All right, tell us about the worst or most random job you've ever had to date.
I think this was probably the Amazon batteries thing. So I had a job when I was a student translating German listings of phone replacement batteries into English. And they were all the same because they just say voltage this, current this, and then this is suitable for the following models, and a big list of things. And now you do it on ChatGPT, you know, but I was doing that. And then, but in a funny way, that's how I got into freelancing in the first place, because I moved and they said, if you move, that's fine, but we then want to take you on as a freelancer instead of employed. And so I set myself up with all the invoices and everything, and that took the edge off, and it made it easier to take on other freelance things because it wasn't this big leap into the unknown, because I was already used to doing the taxes and the invoices and stuff. So in a way, yeah, it did open the door to tons of other things, but it was very, very, very repetitive.
Boring?
It's kind of relaxing in a way because it was part-time. So, you know, it was just a couple of hours at a time, and you could kind of do as much or as little of it as you wanted because there was this never-ending kind of supply of like articles coming in. You could put music on. So it's not very interesting, but I wouldn't say it wasn't unpleasantly boring. It was just kind of, it was so mindless you could think about other things at the same time.
And you're grateful that opportunity was there to give you the confidence to dip your toe in freelance. Well, actually not just dip your toe, but jump in really to freelance world.
Definitely. I mean, I think for me at least, it was quite hard at the beginning, like sending a bill for something I'd done, because when you're employed, you're not really used to doing that. You know, you're getting paid, but it's not like you're saying, I've done this and it's worth this much and they give me the money, you know. And I think that can be quite hard at the beginning, but because it was a job I'd already done and it was just an admin change, really. Like, it helped me get over that a bit.
Yeah, that's another good point. I find it, well, when we work with lots of women through the program and things, that kind of monetizing your work is really difficult, and you can do market research and you can do comparisons, but quite often the spectrum's very big, and so where you place yourself on that is sometimes super difficult.
Yeah. And I think especially you see a lot of people who are really passionate about what they do, and then, you know, they want to give it away for free or for very cheap. And I've worked with illustrators doing the game design, and there's so many that you approach and then they check after a while, like, is there budget for this? You know, and I never approach someone with no money and say, can you do this for me? But then they were saying, yeah, you know, they're so used to people saying, can you do this for free? It'll be exposure for you, you know. And you're right, it's such a huge spectrum from free to huge amounts of money, and yeah, it's very difficult.
I think that's something that I was hoping would come out of this as well, because I think everybody that we've spoken to so far hasn't freelanced full-time. So we've had people that own their own businesses, which I guess has similar qualities to it, but we've not had somebody that's dedicated to freelancing. And I think for me, as someone that's always been employed, the whole idea of freelancing is terrifying to me, because there's so many things that you sort of don't know about or you don't get taught, and you really have to work it out for yourself. So I was hoping we would talk about those starting points, just so if there's somebody listening that is thinking about freelancing, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we can work it out. Like,
would you go back? Are you freelance for life?
I think I'm freelance for life. So actually, in the pandemic, I started teaching for the Open University, and that's employed, and I still do that actually, like a day a week. And I do quite like that because it's this, you know, some money's coming in, and you know, it's kind of, so I think that's quite a nice mix, like a little bit of employed with a bit of freelance. But yeah, I think for people getting started, I think maybe it can be easier for some people to take the plunge, but there's also that option of just building it up bit by bit. But I mean, what I've said to some friends is that to kind of replicate what happened to me with the translation job is they should just set themselves up as freelance on the tax website and make one like invoice template. So if someone happens to talk to you in the pub tomorrow and say they'd like to hire you, you're ready and you can say, yes, you can hire me, that's fine. But I said that to my brother, and then 3 years later he was like, I've got to say 000 to the tax people every year, so I'm going to stop doing this. But I think that can be good, just kind of getting getting yourself set up, so if something does come along, you're open to that opportunity.
It's just managing anxiety as well, isn't it? So it's getting used to those systems and being confident in yourself that you do know what you're doing, which is definitely half the battle with most things.
Yeah. And I think the prices of freelancers seem quite a lot when you're used to being employed, because you don't see all that hidden stuff that goes into your like national insurance, and you're paying for you to have somewhere to work and stuff. So then you look at these freelance rates and you think, oh, I'm not worth that much. But actually a day of someone's time does cost a lot, and it's difficult to get used to.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's a whole different way of thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the biggest risks that you've taken in your working life, that is? You can talk about personal if you want to.
I mean, I think it was going freelance full time. So I'd been living abroad and I moved back here, and I wanted to have a go at being freelance. And I decided to kind of look for a new job and look for some freelance work at the same time and just see which worked out first. But looking back, I didn't try very hard on the jobs front. And I was really lucky. So I just told kind of everyone I knew through work, hey, I'm moving and I'm now freelance. And then someone came and said, I'm on this project where we had a game designer and they've left. Would you like to be the new game designer? And then that kind of, if I did a tree of all the projects I've got, it probably comes back to that. Most of them come back to that one, phone call. And then also a couple of months after that, some people that I'd done volunteer translating for 3 years ago suddenly got in touch and said, oh, we've written a book. Can you translate this? We don't have anyone else and we'll pay you. And so it just kind of came out of the past from nowhere and it all fell into place. So it was a big risk, but it did work out. But yeah, there was a bit of a feeling of like a cliff, because you don't know if anything's going to come in.
Yeah. I'd love to hear more about the kind of game designs that you've done, or maybe your favorite ones, or your specialty game design and where you work, because it's quite different, and I'd love people to hear more about it.
Oh yeah, sure. So I do games which are used for kind of education or engagement and training. So I used to work in water management, and there you've got a lot of different interests, like you've got kind of ecology and agriculture and hydropower and all these things coming together. And people use games as kind of simulations to help people work through like different futures and what that might look like. And so that's how I got into games. So what I do is kind of games, but for that specific purpose. So a lot of them are to do with kind of shared resources, so water or food or energy, that kind of thing. And I guess like the one I'm excited about at the moment is what I'm doing right now, which is about beans for kids. So it's almost my first time doing something for kids. And we're looking at kind of encouraging kids to eat like a wider variety of pulses instead of meat in their school dinners. So we're like growing beans with them and they're having them in the school dinners, and we're developing a game that they're going to play. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm trying to kind of design it with the kids as much as possible. So they're doing the illustrations and coming up with that. So that's been really exciting. That's
cool. Is that a partnership with the schools, or who's driving that?
So that's a research project. So I'm working with the university on that, but we've got like the schools and the local councils and a kind of experimental bean farm, which is growing like new varieties that grow in the UK as well. So it's kind of a big project, but I'm kind of, mostly working with the academic side.
That's very cool. So you're working with nutritionists as well, and kind of the whole spectrum of things?
Yeah, we've got tons. I mean, we've got this new variety of beans, so you have to send them to a place in London and they get analysed for all the nutritional values and stuff. We've got a food psychologist who knows about what kids like to eat and what they don't. And that's been cool, because for the game I was asking about colours, like, are there any colours that are good? And they said, that like for adults, green is a really good food colour because it looks like fresh and healthy, but for kids it's absolute kryptonite. So they said red and orange is really safe for kids, but anything green and they'll just not do it. So that's cool. And we've got people who are like people from like the canning industry who know about how to like can the things and process them. So that's been really cool because that's all new for me, So.
Oh, cool. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And have you done any? I'm just sorry. I think I was at a conference once, and there was like a participatory government game to kind of decide, like as a community, this pot of money, like what would people decide? It was like a game to have people decide where they would allocate the money. Have you done anything similar to that?
Yeah, so nothing specifically about money. We done one. It was about like what is the common good, and the idea is you've got like a card which says what your character is, and you could be old or young or rich or poor. You could have different kind of special abilities or not. And then you had to kind of like design a world with different policies and different things that are available, but not knowing who you are. And then you flip it over, and then you have to play through your life as that character.
That's cool.
I like
And
that.
so, yeah, it was based on, I can't remember the name of the guy now, but it was a thought experiment that someone came up with, was that if you didn't know who you were going to be in the world, like the decisions you make would be fair. Like that's how you could get people to make fair decisions, is if they didn't know which place they were going to have to deal with.
That's really interesting.
That was a fun one, yeah.
And was it optimistic or were you a bit depressed by the results of how people played? I don't want to sound too terrible. Go humans or not so much?
I think in general, go humans. I mean, I think there are like people have some surprises playing it, you know, and I've definitely played. There's a game that's popular called Settlers of Catan, and someone's done a climate change version of it where you can kind of get extra resources for yourself, but at the risk of making the whole game harder for everyone. And I played it with a few friends who were all kind of quite, you know, you'd think they're quite environmentally aware and stuff. And then we all just got completely sucked into the trap, and we'll be like, it's fine to do it just once, you know, I just need some extra resources, let's go. And we just destroyed the whole place, you know. And it was quite cool because you kind of see how, yeah, people have these tendencies. And I think games let people express that in a safe kind of way. Like if we play Monopoly, like we get a chance to be an evil landlord, even though we wouldn't in real life, but you get to see how that side of people kind of works. So...
Yeah, so those insights, do you use psychology in the planning of your games at all to manipulate the lessons, the educational message?
Yeah, no, all the time. Like, I mean, what I say to people is like, you should think of like the one thing you want people to be saying to each other on the way home. So like, you know, one lesson, and then you should design the game so that they have that lesson. So like the game itself could even be like a negative experience, as long as you have a good debrief after that lets people process that into a positive way. So I had this game that we did at the Edinburgh Science Festival with kids, where basically it's like a river and marbles come down the river, and each person has a farm at different places along the river, and they can choose how many marbles they scoop into their farm and how many they let roll to the next person. And so it's really frustrating being the bottom one, because everyone else has taken what they want and you're just stuck with like the dregs, you know. And we were playing it, and then I could see one of the kids at the bottom was getting a bit like teary. And so then I said, well, why don't you swap with the one at the top? And then the one who'd been at the top played one round of it and then went and apologized to the other one, was like, oh no, I see what the thing was like. So I think, yeah, like I do try and think of one like experience that I want people to have, and then I design the game so that they'll have that experience. As long as you've got like some like aftercare afterwards, like if it's emotional, to turn it into something useful.
And have you ventured out of the kind of educational realm into kind of marketing at all, gamifying products or?
I think probably this beans one is the closest I've got. So what we really want to do is encourage kids to eat beans. Most of the others are to encourage people to think rather than to push a specific point of view. So yeah, this is the most markety one.
Yeah. And sorry, what's your educational background? Where are you coming from when you got into the kind of game?
Oh, yeah. So I did civil engineering, and then I did a master's in flood management. Okay. So, and then that's how I got into this water management thing, because there's always lots of different competing, you know, ideas. And
I guess the principles of water, sharing water, are similar to beans or resources or...
Yeah, I think lots of resources, the same like energy or space or food. Yeah, there's just lots of different people see the system in different ways, and then to kind of move it forward, you need them all to have at least enough in common that they can work together. Yeah. So that's what games try to do.
So what's next for you in terms of your work, or like, do you have a 5-year plan, or do you just see how it goes? What's your attitude towards that?
A 5-year plan's probably makes it sound more planned than it is. But something I'd like to do is explore working with more people, because I've definitely noticed that, you know, I get a lot more out of an afternoon's work if it's with someone else than if I'm on my own. So I'm kind of been talking a bit to a couple of people about whether it be possible to set something up as a kind of group company or a kind of brand that we could all operate under and do games like that. So I think that would be the next step for it. Yeah,
that sounds good. I always find it's I don't know, it's more fun to work with others. You get the creative sparks and the conversations. That the freedom of, you know, working on your own is great, but yeah, I suppose maybe that's the best of both worlds, kind of a collective.
Yeah. But you can ask me in 5 years and I'll tell you if it happens.
Also, working with people has its challenges.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And especially if you're freelance, you know, and then you can be worried, like, will there be enough work for me? Yes. And if there's 2 of us, you then need twice as much work coming in. And but I think, you know, also, having the employed job as well gives me a bit of stability to do that. I think I wouldn't have thought about that when I was just doing the full-time freelancing, actually.
Sure. So kind of ending on, we like to end on flow or awe. Do you have an example of when you're in a state of flow or when you've experienced awe?
Do you mean work-wise or just in general?
It could be anything, yeah. It doesn't have to be work. It could be...
I think the most recent one was I was in a station and they had one of those pianos that people can play. And there was this guy playing, and I think he must have been about 15 or 16. He was really young. And he was just incredible. And I'm pretty sure he was improvising because it was just kind of like changing this. And then I just stopped to watch because there was something about it that was just amazing. And like loads of people had stopped to watch him as well. And I just thought it was really cool that like we all know that what he's doing is really great, but probably none of us could say why.
Love that.
Yeah.
And it was spontaneous. Obviously.
It was just spontaneous, yeah. And then at the end, he just quietly put his jacket on and just walked off, you know, and that was it. And it had just been this stunning thing.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Did that kind of change your perspective on anything? Or what was that feeling?
I guess it was this feeling that, there's something kind of underneath that everyone is able to like sense in the same way. Like probably, like I couldn't tell you if he was really technically good at the piano or not, but there was something about it that was like, wow, something great is happening here, and just seeing that like other people were feeling the same thing, I guess.
I love that. So you were kind of in your flow through his flow.
And
you're also in his
that,
flow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
When you're listening to music or dancing with a group of people, the psychology of it is almost like you go on the same wave. And that's what that feeling is. It's actually like...
There's a term for it.
I can't remember what it is either. We're going to have to look it up. Yeah.
Flow.
But there is a background science there as well as to why you feel that way.
Oh, that people kind of tune into each other.
Yeah, it's definitely like related to like the vagus nerve and things like that as
It actually changes your chemistry. Yeah, no, it's really cool actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So doing stuff together and it provides that kind of feeling of connectedness. So that's probably what you also experienced. Everybody else that was watching, that kind of human connection that you're all experiencing this hard to name thing together.
Because we were doing it, you're making little bits of eye contact with people and then you kind of like I know and you know it was great.
It's so cool how connected you can feel as well without even directly engaging, you know. There's no conversation there or any what's the word, if like Passover between you. You're just
in the same
enjoying
thing
and immersing yourself in it.
I guess it's like what we get if you go to like a gig or something like that, and everyone's watching the same thing, and you know that everyone's doing the same thing and feeling the same things.
That is the thing. It's the thing that we talk about, that probably those moments that you recall, like you just recalled that. You know, it's not, you know, an expensive holiday to the Maldives, or it's not your brand new car. It's just the moment of collected, shared something.
Like where a bit of magic's just happened.
Magic. Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Joe. Lovely to speak to you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was lovely to speak to you too.
Thank you so much to Jo for joining us today. To find out more about Jo, you can find all of her links in our bio. To hear more about Tribe Porty and Keystone, you can find us on all social media platforms. Please head over to our website and subscribe to our newsletters, which includes monthly blogs to provide helpful insights into how we craft our working lives. This has been Working for Progress. We hope you join us again.